Oh, oh, oh. Damn, getting that coffee took longer than I thought. All right. What are we doing? What are we doing? There's some really annoying things I have to do now. I'm not sure how to do it. So I have a surface, right? And the thing is, even though it is a surface, it is still two triangles, right? And what that means is that we have to determine which direction we split it. It's like either that or using 4 triangles, but I really don't want to do that. That's such a bad solution. So I'm not entirely sure, but I think that like the way it should work is that whenever there's a downward slope, it's really hard to write or to draw this in a way that I feel makes sense. But I feel like the split in a quad should always be aligned with the angle. So if we have a slope that's going this way, then this should always be, what is this, perpendicular to that? Or is this parallel? I don't fucking know. I think it's perpendicular. So we get a shape like this. Because, yeah, I mean, I think it has to be like that, because otherwise this can't hinge properly. This is really just geometry stuff. Where's Bathios when you need it? And the issue with this is that I basically need to calculate the sides and then like shift them around, and that sucks. Here, right? We can do that last here, I think. Maybe it's not that bad. I think it is that, like, I think it's bad, but it might not be that bad. Right now I'm doing it this way here, get rotated surface, but this doesn't work. I don't know if it will need an alignment, but we can put it in. And it's also really bad to have to do this, but I feel like there's no other way. But then we need to make a check. What is that check? Like something... It's not that simple. Ugh. There are more problems too that aren't very good here. How can I don't know if I'll be able to work today. We'll see. My head kind of hurts, but it's not a dot product, but the cross product. No, the cross product gives us that. Because I was thinking, what if I just check the angle? Because this is diagonals. This only matters when there are diagonals. Otherwise, it does not matter at all, I think. So... we should be able to make... Potentially we can make a check with a dot product. Like... if... we start with a vector of 0, 1, 0. And then we want to compare that to another vector and see so difficult since it's 3D. I don't really have a good way of visualizing this, I feel like. Because what would the normalized value be for 3? I mean, we can just calculate that, right? But it's not that simple, because it's like immediately when it deviates, we need to get another value. The value, the dot product is the same. So that's useless. So that's not what we want. So maybe it is the cross product calculator we want. So you got 0, 1, 0. Because that's what a flat plane is pointing towards. And then we say like 0.00. Oh, Gibbs. Trying to work on my 3D renderer. But I got a little headache immediately. Trying to render a 3D world using ray tracing. I flattening it, even though it's actually a Minecraft world. This is meant to be ground. But right now I have to calculate how to flip the squares, because the squares are currently in the wrong direction. Squares are made up of triangles, and these triangles need to be... It needs to split in the center here. Can't split this way. I can't figure out how to do it. That's what I'm doing. What are you doing? So I feel like the cross product might be the play. Because I just wish I had a real value here. 3D vector normalizer. So if the vector has a positive and a negative Z and X value, then I think it should be flipped. So what if we make a vector endpoint here that's like this, 3 to 10. What is that? Bro, I hate Wolfram so much. It's so trash. Use a math function. Yeah, fuck you. Can you give me the actual normalized vector? You fucking... It's completely useless, dude. There. That's what I want. And then here... This is what we need to do. Error? Fuck you! So here we end up with negative and negative there. I am doing science things. It's super annoying. And what if we set this one to be a positive value? Then it's positive. What if we set this one to be negative? Then we get 2 positive. Okay, it could work. So we need to... Where's the try check there? We need this. So we need this. This is the cross product of 2 of the vertices. And then we should I think we can just go with this. We can just say if n dot z is greater than 0 and n dot x is less than 0, I think and then we also do the opposite, or x is greater than 0 and z is less than 0. I think that could work. Because what I'm doing then is, if we have a triangle, then we get the normal of the triangle by taking the direction from the first vertex to the second vertex and to the third vertex. Then we get the cross product of those 2 directions. Then we get the normal, which is a direction that points away from that. And if that direction has an x and a z that are different, like if the x is negative and the z is positive, that means it's pointing in a diagonal direction. Or rather, it's pointing in one out of 2 diagonal directions that we're interested in. And if that's the case, then that means that the surface should be split in a different way, and the triangles should be in another order. Oh, Shadow Turtle Yin Yang, how's it going? Oh, holy shit. But then the question is, how do I... Well, I think it can be simple. Just need to figure out how this needs to be. We just need to make... You know how it is. Life is life. That's true. It's true. Well, actually, I do have... What does DDA stand for in this context? It stands for... What is it again? Digital... something. Digital Differential Analyzer. And it is a algorithm for checking how a ray traverses across a grid. Because normally it's not that easy. If you have a ray and you want to check points along the line, you have like a certain like step length. So you check like every 1 centimeter of the ray, and then you check where it is. But if you do that, then you're gonna miss entries because it doesn't align with that. So you're just gonna get shitty data. So there's an algorithm where you can instead make the ray travel to the edge of the current space, and then it goes to the next one, and then here it goes here, and then here it goes here. So that way you can traverse a grid with relatively great precision. Like, there's still float problems involved because computers, but it's pretty good. And that's what I'm doing to render voxels, which is a cube in Minecraft terms. So I'm shooting rays all throughout the world, and I'm stepping through it like that until I find data, and then I read the data and see what's in it, and then I render that to the screen. Which is different from how 3D graphics usually work. But alright, let's see. So, the issue now is that we have a quad that looks like this, right? And now what I want to know is, or what I need to do is, if the x is positive and the z is negative of the normal of this but it's not so simple either. Well, I think it is. I think I only need to check one triangle, actually. Oh, shit. Is that a problem? Wait, hold on. Ray triangle check. I wonder if there's any issue there, but I think it's smart enough to figure that out. Because I have a variable up here called v0 to v7, and then I also have parameters called that, but I think it's fine. It takes the parameters first. Okay. So then here, what this should be is try a 0.v0. I'm not convinced this is good though. Getting the normal of a quad. Okay. So the cross product is this for vision calcs? No. This is way more annoying. Basically, this is the terrain right now, right? And if you look at the terrain here, you can see it's leaning down here. But if I take a screenshot here, you see this is the quad, or this is the cube, really, that's been flattened to mesh like into a smooth terrain. But the problem is this here. I think, like, I'm not 100% sure, but the fact that the quad is made up out of two triangles, and the fact that the seam between the two triangles, that kind of limits how the quad can deform. And that means that in this case here, if these two corners are like lower than these two corners, then we're gonna get like a ridge, a heightened ridge going across the top here. And I think that that creates a bad pattern when it's leaning in this direction, right? So I have to calculate if this surface is leaning in a certain direction, and then I have to reorganize the vertices so that it's like this instead. Right. And that's what I'm trying to do now, in order for it to be correct. I think actually all I need to do is something like this. We want a float 4. Which is the y values. And that's gonna be try a 0 dot v1 IA 0 B. No, that's actually v1. V2, and this is v0. But it should only be the y value of each vertex. And then the last one is try a1 dot v1 dot y. Because we need to store that. And now I think I should just recreate this. So we're gonna say try a 0 equals, or VA, V0 equals V1 and V1, V2. This is, I have to set it to certain positions here. Like I have these V0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they have preset positions. And that corresponds to this cube here, where this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And then these positions is how you write a triangle. So if you want a triangle up here, then you're gonna write it from 1 to 2 to 5. And then like it becomes like that. And then from 2 to 6 to 5. But what I need to do now is I need to write it from 1 to 6 to 5. From 1 to 2 to 6. And then we need to further modify them in the Y by restoring the original values. Which I think is just gonna be... How do I do that? It needs to be in the same position as before, so... The first one is going to be y values dot x. And then this one is y values dot z. And this one is y values dot w. This one y values dot x. This one is y values dot y, and this one is y values dot z. And I think this should potentially work. But what needs to change is this calculation here, because this is for a triangle, while right now we actually need to check I'm gonna ask ChatGPT, come on. How do I calculate the normal of the center of a quad? Handle it as two triangles. Do I need to calculate both triangles? Normalize the normals. Combine the two triangle normals. Is this correct? Does that make sense? That doesn't sound like it makes sense. But yeah, I think it has to be something more like that, because relying on the lean of one triangle, I think isn't good. It has to be of the entire quad. Oh, why is everything so hard in geometry? I fucking hate geometry. I don't... Oh, I want to program video game logic. Oh, I'm so sick of this renderer, bro. Oh my god. And it's gonna be an issue furthermore, unfortunately, because we'll see. Once I just implement basic collision, getting the normal of a quad, yeah. ChatGPT says get the cross product of the two triangles and then normalize the then add the results of the cross products of that together and normalize that. Yeah, that's what I'm doing for the triangle. More or less, like the cross product here isn't normalized. I don't know if it needs to be, but quad normal. This doesn't. I mean, yeah, no, maybe this does make sense. BACA, CADA. I need to. So if we have this, then we have A, B. I don't know if we'll do it like this, or if it's like this. It's. I don't know if it matters. But so it's B minus A. So we check this and this. And then it's C minus A and A, B, C, D. C minus A. How does that make sense? I feel like that's wrong. Like, no matter how you flip this. Take two connected edges A and B. Take A cross B, then normalize the result. Yeah, that's for a triangle. But I need like the... I think the answer here is actually a lot simpler. Because here you get the cross product of the first one, right? And then we just do the same thing again, but for the second triangle. That's N2. And then we simply say N3 is N1 plus N2 divided by 2, right? Because then, if we have a quad that looks like this, you know, like this normal is like that, this normal is like that. then by just adding them together and dividing by 2, then we should get this. I think. And that's what I want. Unfortunate to have to do an extra cross product there, but whatever. Are you flat shading? Or is it smooth around the bent edge? I'm not sure. Oh no, I'm not even there yet. But I don't think I would do any smoothing. I could maybe later, like, make it nicer, but I don't think I need that. But I could maybe. We'll see. I think it'll be pretty smooth anyway. And it also depends on the performance loss. No, right now I'm calculating the normals because of this. See, this is the this is a slope that's pointing in this direction, and this is the surface. But this is a diagonal, right? So the surface needs to have its triangles recalculated based on its lean. If it's leaning in this way or the opposite, rather, or you know, like in this direction but on the other side, then it needs to have its vertices changed so that it splits in the middle. Yeah, because otherwise you get this and it's just gonna have like this little shape everywhere. So we need to do that. And you could do this on like the C# side, but it's kind of shit. Because then you have to do so much, like, you have to calculate everything around you and then set this to be like slope A or not slope, but this is just a surface, like surface A or surface B. Which could be done, but there are similar issues with other things too. We'll see. We'll see. I don't even know if this is the right solution, so... So here, I don't want to do this anymore. We just want to do get voxel configuration. And then in here, as we're calculating the surface, at the end, having calculated the surface, we then want to run rotate surface alignment alignment 101 and try A. And that's it. And I think we can try running it. There's a problem. I'm setting it back incorrectly, I think. We'll have to check that over. Because it's being flipped over in the wrong direction. This is 0, 1. What do I need here? Zero, 1, 0, 2, 0, no. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. And then we have 1, 0, 1, 1, and 1, 2. But now it's gonna be 0, 0, 1, 0. And this is 1, 2. And this is 1, 1. And this is 0, 2. This is also 0, 1. This helped me? Not sure. This is X, Y, Yeah, I think this might be the reason why X, Y, Z, and W. I think I probably flipped Z and W or something. So, in the new one, 0, 0, that should be X. 0, 1, that should be W. 0, 2, that should be Z. 1, 1, 0, that's X. 1, 1, that's Y. And 1, 2, that's W. Okay. Let's try again. Whew. There we go. I think that's correct. Now we check what it looks like here. This does look a lot better, I think. There are still some blotchy things here, but I think that's probably okay. It's not gonna be perfectly flat, which is the point as well. But I think that's right. Now we just need to deal with all of the other fucking things. So you see there's quite a lot left, but a lot of it is simply the same implementation, but for the other directions that I just haven't implemented yet. I've just been trying to get it to work in this little spot here, and that's it. But that does seem to be what needed to be done there. Oh. It's not about the brown shading, it's about the, I mean, kind of. It depends on what you're referring to, if it's that or... But yeah, you can see this, because you can see into the geometry. That's where it's wrong. If we turn off the shadows, you can see even more where it's wrong. Now it's green everywhere where it's wrong, more or less. Yeah, blue is a surface. Before, the way I was rendering it was this side of the voxel determined the color that I was rendering, right? And that meant that like a right entry was bright red, front entry was dark blue, etc. But the way I've done it now, I'm more like fetching a certain amount of triangles based on what the shape needs. So a surface is only 2 triangles. And because of that, we don't really have a side. It's just the first 2 triangles. And so right now the coloration is just like the first two triangles are blue, the second or the third and fourth triangles are green or whatever, and then it just goes that way. That's why the cubes still have the colors, because the cubes have 10 to 12 triangles. Well, this is just blue. So I added this the other day, the ability to be able to highlight, so I can actually like tell what we're looking at a bit. But yeah, so this is the surface and this is the slope. And I'm not sure if this is actually a surface, because I changed it. I changed all of the concaves and all the convex corners to just be surfaces as well, because the reality is that they are, right? Like they're just surfaces. But I don't know if I can still do that, because it's not necessarily that simple. Because the surface means that you have to check all of the corners, while if it says that it's a convex corner, then we know that it doesn't have neighbors over here. Like it only has neighbors over here, so I only need to check against those. But I'm not sure. It's just that the difference between the two is that if I can just use a surface, then the enumeration is just like these few shapes here instead of 30 shapes. But I still think I need to have those shapes anyway, so. And I think it would be an optimization to have them. I need to pee. Oh. Oh. I've had surprisingly frequent one-shots recently. This is pretty nice. Just do something and it works. And we'll also have to see later, because the reality is, I don't know how any of these things will really work out, combined with gameplay elements, like building and stuff. It's a good sign you're getting better. Maybe. Maybe. I usually get superpowers when I get like a headache, or if I wake up early when I'm like completely obliterated. That's usually when I like actually manage to think the most for some reason. It's like like the twilight zone between being normal and being sick. That's like where I operate. But when I'm actually not sick, I'm like worse. Yeah. Now we just need to muster up the strength to figure out what the hell to do here. So yeah, the problem here now is that the slope I kind of think the slope is obsolete. Not entirely, actually. But quite a bit still. But actually, all of the shapes still need to be in. It doesn't matter, because okay, so before I needed all of these shapes in order to draw the terrain properly. Like, if you have the terrain here, let's say it goes like this, then you end up having like a bunch of corners here. And then this here, this is a convex corner. This is a concave corner. Convex. And then this is all slopes in between. Right? And what has happened is that the convex corner, or the concave corner, is basically obsolete now. Because wherever there's a convex corner, or a concave corner rather, there's now a triangle that fills up the corner. And because of that, there is no concave corner anymore, really. But if we were to add like the ability to dig in the game, so you can remove this triangle that's making it smooth, then you would immediately need the concave corner functionality again. So it's not really the right approach to try to replace them with only slopes or with only surfaces, but it should be a surface when the triangle is there, I think. But the difficulty here, like, I'm not exactly sure what's happening here, but like, you can see that this is fucked, right? Like, I don't really truly get it. This is a slope. This is a surface. Oh, this is a try. Okay. Yeah. This is a triangle. This is a surface. I don't. Yeah, okay. No, this is a convex corner normally, but I changed it to be a surface. And then there's the slope. Fuck. This here is a slope. Right? It's like that or something. That's this. See, what I wanted to avoid is having to make like a billion calculations. Either way, even if I have to make a billion calculations on this, it's still better than what I was doing before. Because here we have only really 4 vertices that we need to make calculations for. While before I was calculating for every single side of every single vertex on the entire cube. So I was doing, well, I was doing like 6 times as many calculations at least. And so that's still a huge win. But I'm not a huge fan of every single surface having to calculate its, like, check its corners. It has to load its corners and check, oh, is there anything there? Oh, there's nothing there. Okay. You know, like, but either way, I'm not sure it matters because the surface, the base surface already has to make like a billion checks Like this is the base functionality of a surface that's like unavoidable. That sucks. Like this is so much fucking shit. But what I was doing was I was treating the corner triangle as like kind of like a ghost voxel where we didn't really include it in a lot of aspects. Like I didn't include it for calculating that it's a neighbor in terms of like where the voxel is aligned. Like it didn't count for stuff like that. But I think I should move away from that and treat it like it's a true voxel, which also means it should have like content in it, which is really, really difficult because I don't really know how to visualize that necessarily. I mean, I kind of do, but also not really. Because the difficulty is how do I illustrate this? Like, if we have a corner, well, let's draw it kind of like this or something, maybe. This. Let's say this is the corner. We now need to have a triangle here. And that triangle is gonna look something like this, right? But then it's gonna go up here. Actually, I think this isn't how it would look. Or would it? could look like this. But either way, no, okay. This would be this here on the side would be a slope. So the neighbor here would become a surface. And this one too. And because of that, it would... these two corners would be synced together. And you would get like a slope here. Like that. And then the rest is a surface like that. And then this here would be a slope. So this would be like a smooth transition up here for this. In an angle like that. Yeah, that makes more sense. And then here you'd have just a flat square. And here you'd have the same thing again. Where you would have a triangle like that. Which would then transition into a slope like that. But then here, the difficulty with the triangle is that we now have this triangle here, right? But my voxels have internal volume that determines how it connects to the nearby ones. So if I were to dig at this, well, I guess we would just lower this knot. Because as this one goes closer to 0, then as long as I treat the triangle as a proper voxel with volume, then they can meet like this. And then as I dig on the corner voxel and it loses volume, when it goes down to 0, then its neighbors have to be recalculated into a different configuration, which then will be, this will turn into a slope, right? This will also turn into a slope. And then this here will turn into a concave corner. Yeah. So what we need to do is, right now I have changed everything to count as surfaces, which it shouldn't. So here we then have voxel alignment here. So what we need to do is we need to actually include the triangle when it comes to calculating alignment. And that's going to be pretty simple, I think. And then things should just kind of work to a degree. And then we remove this. I'm gonna duplicate it though. This is where I'm not permitting the tiles to include the corner in its calculations. And that is making it become a slope. It's making it become things that it not necessarily should be. Let's see what happens if we launch it with that. Ugh. Oh yeah. And then I have to figure out like lighting methods and stuff, which is also gonna be something. Well, that didn't really do anything at all, unfortunately. But yeah, now we have slopes. This doesn't feel right. But which way? It's still not counting the slope for its alignment. Huh? It's weird. I can, yeah. Yeah, I see it. That's unfortunate. Because I'm setting the triangles here, that means that in some cases the triangles won't be fully set when I try to do alignment checks. So I actually have to add another for loop. Where we do that. The parallelization of the for loop didn't really do fuck all, almost, which made me sad. It's like not faster at all. So here we need to do this. So we set those first, and then here we can calculate alignments. Oh, it doesn't work at all. Why? What? I don't understand. Why does it not work? It's like nothing changed. I just split it into 2 passes, and the passes look correct. It's just that now they don't have a config. Why do they not have a config? I'm doing it here. Calculate config. They're not getting an alignment? No, these don't have an alignment. But this one does have an alignment. It says VA 101 surface. Why is it not rendering? Huh? I didn't change anything. What? Config cube. We've got cubes up in the air. That doesn't make any sense either. So confused. What? Ah. Is the shader broke? Did I fuck up the shader somehow? No? Nothing's changed, man. I think this is maybe it. I feel like, I don't know, if now this is what's probably missing. Maybe. I don't feel like that should really break it. But maybe. Okay, there we go. This voxel is set to none. Why? That's the voxel below. Yeah, what's happening now is that because the trine now counts as something that you can align against, that means that the voxel that's below now counts as a cube instead of a surface. But it needs to be a surface because it needs to like pop out and show itself a bit. We need to show one of the triangles of the below voxel. The cube would be fine if I just set up all the calculations for the cube, but the cube sucks because it's like ultra heavy to do all the calculations. So we just need to think of a way to set it into an actual surface here. And here, it's being set to none. If everything in the alignment matrix is none, or if everything in the alignment matrix is true, being set to none, but it's not actually everything. Because checking the entire checking every boolean in the alignment matrix kind of blows. But we can do something like bool or int is hidden for each var I in alignment matrix is hidden plus equals 1. And then we can just calculate, we can just think how many, what is that? It's going to be if is hidden is greater than or equal to how many sides? 9 plus 9 plus 8. 18, 26. If I is hidden. So if this is 26, then we know that it doesn't need an index. I'll be right back. Oh! And the headache is ramping. Unfortunately. Not really sure. I can't do a 4 each here anymore if I want to do that. Oh, it's so complicated. Is what I wanna know, more or less, is if it is this voxel is in the ground, it's surrounded on all sides. On top, it's got a triangle on it, which is a corner. And for a triangle to exist, that means that one of the corner edge sides should be open. If not two. But it might not even be... It might just be one. So I kind of wonder if I should say here, like, else if is hidden equals 25, then configuration index equals surface. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know. We can try it. Does not seem to have functioned. Here we have a concave There's a try. Actually surprised that we have concaves when the tries are involved. How is that possible? Cube connected. Wow, really? Yeah, because in this case... In this case, there are 3... Oh man, I feel like it should just be a cube. Just setting it to a cube and setting the cube up would probably make the most sense here, but... It's just that the cube sucks. Like, it sucks so hard, you have no idea. Because in order to set up the cube, I need to set the cube up for every single edge. Like, every single side needs to be calculated, because we can't know where the cube really belongs. It just has all sides, and all sides have to be accounted for. That's why I don't want to use it. So I really want to figure out if this is a surface. This makes sense. This doesn't. Because right now, I'm trying to avoid reading neighbors. Here I'm just using the alignment matrix to determine what the shape should be. And what sucks here is that how do we really... I feel like I have to do something like if alignment matrix two 0 0 or 2 2 0 4 2 2 2 4 0 2 2 But that's also impossible. Because even if I set it to a surface, the way the surface works is that the surface we'd have to do something like this. We do this, and then with that we're gonna say configuration index equals surface, but we're also gonna say set alignment voxel alignment. New alignment. Set alignment DDA 101. We have to manually set it like that. And then here we're gonna have the same thing, except here it's gonna say 0 instead of 2. So now we're checking below. And then this is gonna set it to 2 there instead. That could maybe do something. Oh. I think the concave is a problem here still. The concave should just be a surface. This right here is very odd looking. What is happening here? Yeah. Because this shape here is completely ruining what we're trying to do with the... I mean, it's not really that bad, but it is wrong. Because the concave naturally is split in the middle, right? And that's not what we want, really. I don't really understand why it gets shaded in the way it does. Because if we actually look at it, it's like it's not actually curved in any real way. So it shouldn't really darken the way it does. I think that's probably just the... Yeah, if we turn off the shadows, you can see. It is a little... It's a little weird, I think. Still. This here is weird. You can see all these lumps are still not quite there, but it's getting close, really close. And it's always the concaves. Turn it off. Because it's always... I feel like the concave should, in every case, like every single case, the concave should have a triangle in front of it. That's like the entire point. Surface, concave. Why is there no tri here? This is where the tri should be. Oh, I get it. Fuck. It's because we now have a tri here. This is supposed to be the concave normally, but now that we have tris, when I am calculating what's what, this becomes a concave corner because the tri is here and counts as an edge. So... how do we set this to be a concave corner when there is no tri there? I could do neighbor checks, but I would rather avoid it if I can. But right now we only have like an alignment. One way that I could do this is to set the alignment matrix to be more than a boolean. It could be a byte. That way I could say that, yeah, you have a neighbor, but it's this special neighbor. So now you need to do this instead, right? That could work. But I don't really like that, because that means that each voxel now contains 8 times 27 bits extra per voxel. That's terrible. Like, genuinely horrible. As opposed to just having these booleans that barely take up 32 even. But the array itself takes up a couple as well, I think. I don't know how big an array is though. It might be a 32 or something. 64 maybe. I don't know. Another alternative is to simply not store the alignment matrix at all. And we don't do it in the voxel. We just do it outside. It's just a function of the matrix instead of the voxel itself. So we don't set configurations really based on this. We set it based on the actual voxel matrix. That also works. That also saves a lot of data space, lots of memory, and gives us access to more stuff. And it has to be done that way anyway, I think, because later on when we're going to affect a voxel, that has to spread to its neighbors anyway. But it's so, like, even so, it's so ridiculously complicated here. I feel like. But I could maybe simply move this out and then add some parameters, and then we call it in the brick map controller instead of in the voxel. And then instead of storing the alignment matrix in each voxel, we simply generate the alignment matrix on the fly. And then discard it. Because it's not actually used much otherwise. So here, right? And I also feel like I need to calculate, or I need to create a container for the walls. Like, the way it works is I've got voxels, and then I have bricks that contain the voxels. The bricks are 8x8x8. It's basically a chunk. And then I have a wall, which is made out of 8x8x8 bricks. And then I just have an array that contains all of the walls. But I need another part that contains all of it. And that's so that I can seamlessly access them across bricks and across walls. So I can just say, like, voxel 430, and then that's just what we access, and then that just accesses the correct one, whether it's in this one or in this wall or that wall. But that does require a lot of rework, because right now the way it works is that the wall contains the array. And I actually think that I need to rework this, because I think it's not quite right. I think they should be separate. Oh. Right now we're getting a little carried away. Actually, maybe not. Maybe I need to do that now. So how should that work? Should the voxel matrix be a class that just contains an array? And if that's the case, it's not actually really that difficult, right? Sure, we can try writing that. I'm gonna call it house. And then the house should just contain I feel like this needs like a complete rework. But it needs to contain like a brick array or brick matrix. Wall matrix, voxel matrix, right? And then the house needs to contain X size, int Y size, and int Z size. And then that's size in walls. So then we say wall matrix equals new wall X size, Y size, and Z size. Brick matrix And then here we have is then times 8. And then we have a voxel matrix. Times 64. Right? And then we need at least I think this is how you should set up array access. But this is the very basic level. And then the brick and the wall need to also be set when we're setting the voxel. But it's kind of annoying. Like 8 times 8 times 8, that's a lot of bits. So in order to set that, you need to have like an array of bit masks. And I've already set it up, thankfully, so it's kind of whatever. I think the brick itself is kind of okay. And the wall should be the same. And it is. But right now the wall has the additional functionality of actually containing everything. Which is what we should put in here. Because the wall and the brick, I have too much function with in them right now. The brick is kind of like doesn't do anything, which is more or less what it should do. While the wall contains everything and has a bunch of like set pixel or set voxel and get voxel functions and shit, which it shouldn't have. The voxels should just exist in one large array, I think. And the brick shouldn't contain the voxels. It should just contain a bit representation of the voxels. So when I set a voxel somewhere, whatever brick value that translates to, the brick then there should have a bit set. And the same is true for the wall. And then there's a question of like, what should the brick or the wall have color? And the answer is probably, because that's the only way I can have LOD, by rendering the brick instead or the wall instead. And then the brick needs to calculate what it should look like, right? And that should probably be like the majority of what's in it or something like that. Same thing with the wall. And then at the end of the day, the sad part is if this ends up losing out to just meshing, then it's all fucked, right? What's the point of doing this if it's worse than meshing? At the end of the day. But with meshing, you have to do like greedy meshing and all kinds of shit. I don't want to do that. Because I think the true value of a Raymarching engine is really the ability to render tons of small voxels. Because you can have much more granularity there without losing performance. Because if you try to render like 1,000,000 tiny cubes with meshing, then it's gonna run like shit. Horrible ass. But I just don't really want the voxel aesthetics. That's the issue. And this is the only way I've found to be able to smooth out the terrain, like connect the voxels together. Because otherwise, like, I just don't know how you would do it. You need to calculate their neighbors somehow. Because if your ray intersects between two voxels, then that's just that. Like you have to do that, or you have to use SDFs, and SDFs kind of defeat the purpose as well, because it uses up so much memory that there's like no point anymore. SDFs are only good for static stuff, I think. I do want to do more, but I think we'll stop there. Oh, because my head is getting worse. I'm gonna go to the store and then I'm gonna try to do some other things. But yeah, until next time, thanks for hanging. Have a good day. Bye bye.